What did you think your role was at the time, and what were your thoughts about the conflict in general?
It was a pretty heady time. It was all new. It was all unique. We were new to the Afghans. They were new to us. And so we had very broad guidance. And the guidance was to enable the Northern Alliance to defeat the Taliban and destroy Al Qaeda. And that was it.
Being sent back to Afghanistan in 2020, it had kind of confirmed sort of like my suspicions, which was basically the Afghan armed forces is still a paper army, much like when the Soviets had built up their version of the Afghan army in the 1980s. On my way out in October, I'm like, oh, once we finally pull out of this thing, and of course that was before the election, I was like, if we're going to actually follow through on this, the Afghan Air Force is just going to collapse.
When we first started moving into Afghanistan, when I was there moving in January 2009, it was part of the precursor to what became known as the Afghan surge. And the mentality, both of the military and of our political leadership, was that we were getting back to the good war. Being there that year was fairly rewarding, albeit frustrating, because it was clear by this time I got back in 2012-13 that the entire mission was essentially, it was a failure.
As a combat cameraman, I supported every aspect of the Marine Corps. So I did female engagement teams, I did mortuary affairs, I did logistics, I did helicopter drops, I did helicopter recoveries. Towards the end of my time, we saw a lot of infrastructure getting built. So we had completed Route 1, and that connected to Route Red, which were like two major roads within Helmand Province. I had some friends that actually deployed Marine Corps last year, and they said that the roads are completely destroyed now. That's a little disheartening to hear things like that, because it was like this huge accomplishment to attach those two roads and have them hardball.
I was very proud to be a part of what I thought was finally giving Afghanistan its due attention and focus after almost a decade of under-resourcing in favor of the effort in Iraq. I did think that we had more expertise and capability than we had early on from a conventional military perspective as far as counterinsurgency. What I came out of that deployment really trying to do was just make the piece of Afghanistan I could touch a little bit better place, make the lives of the people that I dealt with a little bit better, and tried not to focus on the larger effort and take on and shoulder the responsibility and the burden of winning the war myself or with my unit. And I do think we helped people in that deployment. And I do think we made a lot of progress, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was sustainable without a long-term commitment.
We built a system that worked for us instead of thinking about what can we build for the Afghans, what's feasible, what's attainable, what's realistic. Instead, we just said, well, we want what's perfect. And we never got it, not even close.
I hope that we divorce ourselves of this notion that we are all powerful, that we can build nations, we can remove governments and replace them with something that is far more palatable to us.
Phil said it perfectly. You can't win the war on your own. Your unit isn't going to do it. You aren't going to do it. But it's kind of finding, that own little piece and how you can shape the world and kind of make it better.